What's up, Ben Gretch here, Editor-in-Chief at Fantasy Insiders and on Twitter at YardsPerGretch. And I'm going to give you a quick look at three teams I covered in this week's Stealing Signals, my column where I dive into all 32 teams each week to look for the most actionable information that you need to know before everybody else. First up is the Jaguars. Blake Bortles, 45 pass attempts was his previous season high. He had only been over 40 attempts once. He threw 61 times for 601 air yards, a single season high for this season for a quarterback. That's going to inflate the passing volume, the raw passing volume for everybody across the team. Dante Moncrief led the team with 15 targets and 186 air yards. That was the most targets on the week and the fourth most air yards. But in terms of team share, that was the 15th highest target share and 23rd highest air yard share, because the team volume is really what helped elevate him there. You had two other guys who had 10 targets, Keelan Cole and TJ Yeldon. And then a big one is Niles Paul, who had a 9-target game with Austin Seferian-Jenkins hitting IR. He's a popular pickup this week. Note that he played actually slightly fewer snaps than James O'Shaughnessy, a fellow tight end, in ASJ's stead. And O'Shaughnessy also had 6 targets. So it very well could be a tight end split. I just don't think there's going to be 60 passes per game in that offense. And Paul's not someone I'm going to break the bank on. He's probably more like a 5 or fewer targets per game kind of guy. 49ers, want to talk real quick about Kyle Juszczyk, who I think is a little bit interesting with Matt Breida out. Breida went out last week, only played 13% snap share, but Alfred Morris, you would think his snaps would have really bumped up. He only played a 45% snap share. And then third stringer Raheem Mostert only played a 13% snap share as well. That all adds up to 71% of the snaps, which is kind of bizarre because generally you have running backs, even for teams that go 5 wide somewhat frequently, you have running back snap shares that approach or exceed 100%. So those three main backs only totaled 71%, which means that Kyle Juszczyk was the main back for likely close to 30% of the snaps. He played 69% of the snaps, and he's frequently playing snap rates up in the 60s. But the fact that he was out on a route over 50% of the team's dropbacks and heavily involved as their pass-catching back, as those snap shares tend to indicate, he's, you know, we've talked about him before. Everyone kind of jokes that he might have some viability, but I think he's actually viable in PPR leagues while Breida's out. Last team I want to talk about is the Texans. Kiki Cutie, 7 targets this week. Ryan Griffin, who only had 11 targets in the first 4 weeks, got going with 9 targets. I don't really expect Ryan Griffin to continue to be heavily involved, but it was interesting to see Will Fuller only get 3 targets. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is always going to eat in this offense, but it had been Hopkins and Fuller as the main 2 guys, and I think Cutie might actually be an issue for Fuller, running those underneath routes. Fuller and Hopkins both have plenty of air yards, are downfield guys. Cutie's going to have his role, and it's probably not going to impact Hopkins as much as it might impact Fuller, but I do still like Fuller, and again, I think the Griffin targets are probably the ones that could shift back towards Fuller. But keep in mind that Kiki Cutie is definitely a thing. So that's all I got for this short video for this week. Go ahead and check out Stealing Signals. I tried an abridged version this week, a little bit shorter, try to get more actionable with all my takeaways, and also save a little bit of time in putting it together. So I hope you enjoy it. Go check it out.
With the NFL season started, we are proud to announce the launch of a brand new sports betting community and mobile app called SharpSide. In the app, you can find and track all your favorite bets through a really fun swiping experience, and then read up on advice about different bets that's been posted by members of the community, or even post your own advice. You can use the leaderboards to see who is the best sports bettor across different sports and different types of bets, and try to make your way all the way to the top. On sharpside.com, you'll find tons of great sports betting content from our group of experts, and we'll be running sports betting contests all NFL season long where you can win real cash prizes. The app is available for iOS only right now, with Android coming very soon, so you can head on over to the App Store and download it now. And remember, you always want to be on the sharp side.